Welcome to KXAN News Today. Today there is a public ribbon cutting at 9 in the morning to celebrate the completion of the Blanco Gardens drainage improvements. That's in San Marcos. These improvements started after the Memorial Day and All Saints flood of 2015, which impacted the community. And that's happening on the northwest corner of the River Road and Cape Street area.
Today, the Central Texas Food Bank is hosting an official ribbon cutting for a project to help students. It's a new Feeding Future school pantry at Galindo Elementary School. More than 61% of students there rely on free and reduced lunch. 88% live in an economically disadvantaged home.
Uvalde City Council today meeting to consider buying alert training equipment for the Uvalde Police Department. Now, alert is the advanced law enforcement rapid response training, focuses on scenario-based active shooter response training to law enforcement, first responders, and civilians.
Live look behind us right now at the U.S. Capitol. Still dark out there in D.C. Confirmation hearings about to begin later this morning on Capitol Hill ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. Good morning, I'm Tom Miller.
Good morning, I'm Sally Hernandez. Trump's pick for the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, is facing Senate lawmakers later on this morning, and it's the first confirmation hearing for one of Trump cabinet's selections. And this morning's hearing is just the first step in Hegseth's journey to being confirmed. The Senate Armed Services Committee will have to vote on his nomination before that goes over to the full Senate. Republican senators rallying behind him, while Democrats remain skeptical.
Pete is somebody that believes in this country.
He just does not seem to have the qualifications.
Now, according to 3 sources with direct knowledge of the contents of a background report, Hegseth's FBI background check does not include interviews with his ex-wives or with the women who accused him of sexual assault in a Monterey hotel room back in 2017.
With less than a week to go before the inauguration, sources say Vice President Kamala Harris has not extended a formal invitation to Vice President-elect J.D. Vance to meet. 2 people familiar with the vice president's plans confirming that there is no meeting, no tour or visit of the vice president residence planned. But the sources say the second gentleman and Mrs. Vance spoke over the phone at length last week. One source noting that former Vice President Mike Pence did not invite Harris to the residence in 2020 ahead of that transition. However, the Bidens did invite the Pences to the vice president's residence in 2016.
First warning weather with meteorologist Kristen Curry.
Good morning. Let's start with a live look out in high. You can see with the contrasting colors, we do have some of that high cloud cover still out there in high, and really across central Texas. I'm seeing a lot of those high clouds, which will eventually become low clouds getting into the later part of the day. Temperatures much colder this morning, widespread 20s and 30s. You're either near freezing or below it this morning. Grab that heavy coat before you go. The temperature trend showing a good 5 to 15 degree difference, but on the colder side compared to where we were yesterday. Looking ahead, those 20s and 30s continue through the morning before eventually we hit 50 by noon. Forecast high today getting close to 60, but I think most of us will stay in those mid to upper 50s with increasing clouds through the day. Coming up, we've got a lot of cloud cover out there, but a little bit of rain too, especially towards the later part of tonight and into tomorrow. We'll track those rain chances and the warming trend that really kicks into high gear later this week. An incoming cold plunge ahead. Those temperatures drop this weekend. We'll talk about the impacts of that Arctic cold front shortly. In the meantime, checking in on the California wildfires. New overnight, crews have yet another fire there to worry about. This is the Otto fire, and it started as a brush fire in Ventura County. That's between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. It burned at least 56 acres and is 0% contained. So far, 24 people are dead and several remain missing this morning from other fires in the area. Many of those deaths coming from the Eaton fire. 2 new lawsuits allege that fire may have started from a utility company. They say that Southern California Edison failed to de-energize power equipment and clear brush. SCE says it's reviewing the complaint as the official cause is still under investigation. And NBC News is citing law enforcement sources that investigators are looking into the possibility of fireworks or unauthorized campers that may have played a role in starting the Palisades fire, the biggest fire burning there in Southern California. People who live in the Palisades neighborhood are back to see just what's left, and some say they're surprised that the fire reached that area, which they were told was safe.
This was the safe part of the Palisades. You know, we're no flood zone.
There's not much that I found here. All I have is like this bag, a lemon, some metallic sprinkler heads just to make my 89-year-old mother feel better, that I salvaged them.
FEMA is warning people in the area to be aware of criminals trying to take advantage of that situation.
Thank you, Kristen. Firefighters from all over Central Texas are already now in California. They're helping battle those wildfires. A group arrived late Sunday night. They have joined in on that fight.
Williamson County Emergency Services District 5 and Gerald 5 and Rescue posted photos showing a caravan, and they were meeting with strike team employees who were able to drive over to Los Angeles for the weekend. Austin Fire says a strike team from Central Texas also assigned to the Palisades fire, and that is the biggest fire that's burning in LA in that area. Firefighters from Central Texas will be there for up to 21 days. Pflugerville Fire Department also arriving to help with the fires. The city of Austin says recent court decisions have made Austin's current short-term regulations unenforceable.
Now the city's trying to overhaul its short-term rental rules in an attempt to give itself regulatory teeth. This proposed change includes only allowing individuals to get a short-term rental permit for a property with 3 or fewer units. For those individuals to operate more than one short-term rental in Austin, those changes could require your units to be at least 1,000 feet away from each other. And it would also require platforms to collect the same tax, called hotel occupancy tax, that regular hotels collect from customers.
One of the elements of the ordinance is that the platforms will require hosts to provide the license number in the advertisement, and will delist properties that are not licensed upon request from the city.
City of Austin has informed sessions on these changes starting next week. It also has opportunities for you to share your thoughts with city leaders starting next month. We have the dates and those details under this story for you at KXAN.com. Good morning. Today, Eanes ISD is discussing a plan to combine Valley View Elementary School with Barton Creek Elementary School, and that's due to budget restrictions. Current proposal is to gain more resources and staff, plus some district help. It's also supposed to help with declining enrollment.
An Austin ISD school campus shut down in 2020 is being repurposed. It just needs final approval from the school board to do it. Trustees are going to vote on January 30th on if to approve a long-term lease with United Way of Greater Austin to use Pease Elementary School. Now, under the plan, United Way would operate a year-round early childhood education center. United Way's presentation said the center is going to serve 130 infants through pre-K children and prioritize underserved populations at the same time. United Way's goal is to have the center open in 2 years after its renovations. And we do have a look at the renderings of the project. They're on your screen and on our website, KXAN.com. Public comment always encouraged, and it's scheduled for this Thursday and on the 30th before the vote. Good morning. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department is making a major land purchase. It's going to double the Enchanted Rock State National Area. As we took a look outside right now of Covington Cellars, that's over in the Hill Country, not too far away from where Enchanted Rock is, that national area right there.
The department has bought more than 3,000 acres of land next to the state park, and you see some of that video there. This new property, $43 million is the cost. It's the latest in a series of land acquisitions the department has made in recent months. The new purchase comes after Parks and Wildlife bought 630 acres for Enchanted Rock back in September. The department will soon listen to public comment on any potential recreational uses for that new land.
Well, there's some good news coming out of Los Angeles this morning with celebrities and businesses who are pulling together, stepping in to help out. Beyonce announcing a $2.5 million donation on Sunday to help families who's lost their homes in the wake of the California wildfires. And Disney pledged to donate $15 million and will be spread across several groups. There's also currently plans for a fire aid benefit concert in the Intuit Dome for the January 20th spot, or 30th, I should say. No lineup, though, has been released. No tickets released either. Organizers say money raised will help those impacted by the first and support efforts to prevent future fire disasters.
Yeah, I'm sure that. I mean, I'm sure that the support will be flowing in. You know, I was talking with a neighbor yesterday. They know I'm from California, and it seems like everybody's sort of like, "Hey, like, are you okay? Is your family okay?" And
it's
like,
really nice.
Mine's fine, but it seems like it's on everybody's radar.
Yeah, you don't have to live there. You don't have to be from there.
Right.
You care.
Yeah, if you watched Monday Night Football last night, they had a really special tribute right before the game where Rachel Platt sang her fight song, you know, and showed the pictures of the firefighters. It was very sweet. So, you know, there are different ways that you can donate. We've put a link on our website, KXAN.com, if you want to do so individually. Let me show you what's going on with our forecast here at home. We've got dry conditions across the entire state for the most part. There's itty-bitty rain chance down there in South Texas this morning, but we do not look to see rain this morning here locally. There's actually a chance coming into the later part of tonight. We'll get to that in just a second. Let me get you out the door. It's cold this morning, 20s and 30s out there. Most of us near freezing, if not below it. Austin at 33, but you'll notice dripping is down to 26. Georgetown 30, down to freezing in Milam County, and then well below it from most of the hill country in the 20s. On our way to the upper 50s today, close to 60, but I'm going to keep that high at 59 here. I think we're going to have some of that filtered sunshine with the high clouds most of the day. And then getting into tonight, not quite as cold as some of those thicker clouds act as a blanket for us. But in general, these temperatures are still running a few degrees cooler than where we should be for this time of year. But it will be a touch warmer than yesterday. Widespread upper 50s to low 60s across central Texas this afternoon. As far as our skies go, as mentioned, a lot of this is just that high cirrus cloud cover, some of those feathery looking clouds through most of the day. But then we get past this afternoon and those clouds get a little thicker. Some of these low clouds coming in with some of that Gulf moisture could potentially drop a little rain on us. This is going to be very, very light. So I want to stress that this is not going to be downpour activity, no thunderstorm risk, just a few spots of sprinkles and drizzle. But drizzle even might be a little too intense for some of these. There's just not going to be much to work with. I'm going to keep in a 10 to 20% chance of some of that light rain through tomorrow morning. But then you're going to notice that rain chance kind of disappearing as we get towards the back end of tomorrow, and even some sunshine just before sunset tomorrow, especially for our northern counties. So it's a little disturbance crossing to our south. I don't think it's going to do much, but we will keep in at least a low rain chance for the later part of tonight into tomorrow. You're noticing the cloud cover for most of the day is going to knock off a few degrees from our temperatures. We'll be in those mid 50s tomorrow afternoon. Nice looking rebound though, getting into the later part of the week, mid to even upper 60s, so it'll feel close to 70 degrees on Friday. But then come Saturday, comes our cold front, which will bring colder than normal temperatures starting this weekend and continuing for at least the first half of next week. That means temperatures in the afternoon dropping to the 40s, and then it looks like several nights at or below freezing here. Not a lot of moisture to work with those, so I'm not confident in any sort of wintry mix or precipitation just yet when it comes to this weekend, but I'll let you know if things change. In the meantime, a little disturbance late today into tomorrow gives us that 10 to 20% chance of rain. Temperatures gradually warming up, then much colder in the 40s as we get towards the MLK holiday early next week. Sally?
Thank you. The FBI is warning of potential copycat threats after the deadly New Orleans attack. Law enforcement officials are considered due to the persistent appeal of ramming a vehicle into an event as a tactic for violent extremist attackers. They're urging the public to remain vigilant and to report any kind of suspicious activity.
Texas man arrested and accused of stalking WNBA star Caitlin Clark is expected to be in court today.
Authorities arrested 55-year-old Michael Lewis from Denton on Sunday in Indianapolis. Lewis is charged with felony stalking after contacting Clark on social media. Authorities say the messages included numerous threats and were sexually explicit. Investigators say Clark told them that she was severely impacted by some of those threats. Special counsel David Weiss' final report on Hunter Biden was released yesterday. Now, he was the special counsel who charged Hunter Biden with gun and tax crimes before President Joe Biden pardoned his son. The report did not include any major unknown news, but it did include criticism of President Biden's decision to pardon his son. Biden described the prosecution of his son as a miscarriage of justice. In a statement, Hunter Biden's attorney commented on the report, saying it omits several mysteries and called it a, quote, cautionary tale of the abuse of prosecutorial power.
Ahead this morning on Today, a fascinating story about the surge in America's space industry and why that's now creating increased demand at rocket launch locations.
How critical is it that the country is able to build out new spaceports?
Space is very critical for our national security, for our economic competitiveness, for inspiration for our students and our future workforce, and frankly, to support our everyday life. Communications, navigations, weather forecasts, agriculture, financial transactions.
What is being done and what's ahead for the boom in space exploration? All that this morning on Today.
An Austin area aerospace company is now heading to the moon. Firefly Aerospace is launching its very own lunar lander. It's going to happen later on this week.
And as KXAN's senior science reporter Eric Henriksen explains, it aims to be the first of several moon missions.
This is the first decade that we're seeing a commercial enterprise and a commercial push out to the moon, and really a U.S. return to the moon in general.
This lunar lander, Blue Ghost 1, will complete a years-long mission, bringing a little bit of Austin to the surface of the moon.
I don't think human beings are just naturally capable of appreciating the full emotional spectrum of that. You just kind of have to live through it.
Firefly Aerospace engineer Kevin Schultes says he's full of excitement and fear.
We're right there. The moment is coming.
Awarded a NASA contract in 2021, Firefly spent the next 4 years building Blue Ghost 1. Its destination?
In the northeast corner of the moon, towards the edge of the moon, you'll see a dark crater. It's pretty sizable, called Mare Crisium, or the Sea of Crisis.
The journey takes 45 days.
We do this to actually kind of use the gravity of the moon to help pull us along a little bit.
After landing, several experiments will run, including drilling into the lunar surface and testing the moon's electromagnetic environment. Blue Ghost 1 is one of 3 missions from the company, the second of which will travel to the far side of the moon.
It's dark from radio interference from the Earth, from all of our human activity, all of our cell phones, all of our radio broadcasts. It's dark there, and it makes a great place to observe radio astronomy on the far side.
These moon missions will each have a ticking clock.
When the daylight is gone, that plunges the area into an abyssal cryogenic dark, minus 250 degrees.
With only 2 weeks of daylight on the moon's surface, Blue Ghost 1 can't be late to its final destination.
So when the night comes, that is end of mission.
In Austin, Eric Henriksen, KXAN News.
And Blue Ghost 1 is scheduled to launch from Cape Canaveral on Wednesday, just after midnight. Company's next lunar mission, Blue Ghost 2, scheduled for 2026.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Sports, and the Dallas Cowboys will have a new head coach next season. After 4 seasons running the show, Mike McCarthy's expiring contract reportedly has not been renewed. The Cowboys and McCarthy did not sign a new deal, with the NFL Network reporting that the length of a contract extension could not be agreed on. ESPN is reporting that the Chicago Bears and New Orleans Saints could have interest in McCarthy as they continue searching for for their own new head coaches.
And Austin FC is set to play their first preseason game a week from today against New England in Bradenton, Florida. It is the 5th year for Austin FC as they open training camp on Monday. It's also a transition year for the Verde. Nico Esteves takes over for Josh Wolf as head coach. Esteves is an MLS veteran so while the team is new to him, he's familiar with a number of players.
Well, I think it's always an advantage. I think I know very well this group and mostly all the teams in the MLS through my experience here in the last years, and I think it's good. But I always want to give the opportunity, and this is one of the focus that I want to have this first week is the players express themselves and then show their qualities and then what they're capable to do, and as coaches learn from the training pitch more about them and then how we can feed their qualities and into the team.
From what I take away from the players that I play with him, they've all really enjoyed playing, under him. Obviously, I wanted to form my own opinion, and I've gotten to know him over the last few days, and we've all liked him as players, as a group right away. We're excited for his tactics that he's going to implement, and I think, as a group, we're going to have big goals for this year.
Coming up, only on KXAN, a new poll showing how America sees President Joe Biden as he prepares to leave the White House. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thanks for being with us. Hope you'll join us on air for that story, or you can find all our stories on our website, KXAN.com.